Hi, boys and girls. In today's lesson, we're going to be practicing solving problems with fractions showing equal parts. Now, last week we did a quiz and there were a couple things we needed to review. So we're going to do a little bit of review in this video, and then I'm going to show you your assignment today and talk you through how the problems work. So, all in all, you guys are strong at being able to see halves, two equal parts, and you're very strong at seeing fourths, four equal parts. What tricked you a little bit was thirds, or three equal parts. Remember, third is the word for when a shape has three equal parts. So, really quickly, let's take a look at these 6 shapes here. Before I move any of them, pause and think to yourself, which of these show thirds? Which of them show 3 equal parts? Press play when you're ready to go on. Okay, here's what I came up with. I don't think this one shows thirds because these 2 pieces on the corners are smaller than this middle piece. That's not fair. They're not equal, so they can't be thirds. I feel the same way about this circle. That piece is much bigger, and since the parts aren't equal, it can't be thirds. Thirds are 3 equal parts. Let's look at this one. Yeah, those all look the same size and shape, so let's add it to our box. This one, once again, has a larger middle piece, so it is not thirds. Thirds have to be 3 equal parts. Like this one. These 2 are very similar, it's just the same shape turned on its side and a little bit bigger. And I think, yeah, this circle, all of the pieces are equal. Those are thirds as well. Okay, one more set to show. Okay, let's sort one more set and then we will take a look at our problems for today. We're still looking for thirds, 3 equal parts. Well, this only has 2 parts. They are equal, but they're not thirds. Do you remember the word for when you have 2 equal parts? That's right, it's halves. Okay, so it can't be this one. Does this piece have 3 equal parts? Yep, there it goes. This one can't be thirds. Even though it has 3 equal parts, they're not, even though it has 3 parts, they are not equal, so it's not thirds. Look at these last 3 shapes. Which of them show thirds? If you said the orange one and the purple one, you were right. This pink circle doesn't show thirds. The parts are equal sized, but there's 4 of them. That shows fourths. So here is your JAM assignment for today. In today's JAM, you're going to be explaining your thinking, so you'll need to use the sticky note or the text box tool and put some words on there. Your first thinking question is, which circle is divided into thirds? Circle A or circle B? Make sure to explain your thinking. Now we're going to go back to thinking about dividing squares in half and dividing circles in half. You can divide shapes in halves in different ways, just like we saw that you can divide thirds in different ways. So, with the circles and the squares, divide them into halves. In the lines here, you're going to write what you notice or observe about all of the halves that you made. This last problem connects to something that was really tricky for most of us. It's the idea that when you have fractions, the more pieces you cut, the smaller the pieces get. So let's take a look at 3 circles. This is a tool called the Fraction Builder, which you will get to play with on a different lesson. Now, oops, wrong button. If I divide this circle in half, I have 2 equal parts. We could label it 1/2. I think I'll drag a red piece down so it's easier to see. So there is 1/2. If you were splitting this circle with 2 people, that would be fair. And I colored one of the circles red, so it shows 1/2. On this next one, I'm going to show 1/3. 1 red piece and 3 pieces all together. So I've split the circle into 3 equal parts, so we have thirds, and I'm going to color one of them red. Before I go on, look at the difference between 1/2 and 1/3. 1/3 is smaller than 1/2. That's because we had to share the circle in more pieces. In this first circle, imagine it was a pizza that we were sharing with just 2 friends. You get half the pizza. You get a pretty big piece. But if a third friend comes, now we have to share the pizza fairly with 3 people. When you share with more people, you have to cut it into more pieces, and the pieces get smaller. On our last one, you'll get to see that one more time. Let's do fourths, 4 equal parts. I'll show you 1/4 with one of those red pieces. Look how much smaller 1/4 is than 1/3 and 1/2. It's the smallest one yet. That's because we had to share it with 4 pieces, like 4 friends. The more people you share a fraction with, the more pieces you divide the shape into, the smaller those pieces get. This messes up a lot of people because when you look at these fractions, you see the bottom number, the denominator, it's a 2, a 3, and a 4. Now, if you just look at that without thinking about what it means, some kids say, oh, well, this has a 4 in it, and 4 is a big number. But they're ignoring the fact that that tells you how many pieces it's chopped into. So with fractions, the smaller the bottom number is, the smaller, like a 2 is a smaller digit than 4, that means it's a bigger piece of the whole. It's sort of a flip-floppy kind of relationship. So when you're thinking fractions, remember the more pieces you divide the whole into, the more slices you do, the smaller the pieces get. And that continues all the way up. Just for fun, check this out. These little teeny ones are 1/8. 2 pieces, 3 pieces, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The fraction here would be 1/8. If you were sharing your pizza with 8 people, you would get a much smaller slice than if you shared it with 2 or 3 or 4. 1/8 is the smallest fraction we've seen. The bigger the denominator, the bigger the number on the bottom, the smaller the piece of the whole. Okay, that was a lot to build up to this problem in your work today. In this problem, Carlo and Abe buy the same sandwich. Carlo's sandwich is cut into thirds. Abe's sandwich is cut into fourths. In this part, you're going to use your typing tools like your text box to explain which sandwich has smaller pieces and how you know. To make this a little easier, I should probably label the sandwiches. Abe had the smaller. Are they smaller? Well, you'll decide if they're smaller. Abe has the sandwich that's cut into fourths. And Carlos has the sandwich cut into thirds. Okay, so if you have any trouble working on this, you can always ask about it at a meeting and we'll help each other out. But that's all for this video. I'll see you in the next one.